Here's something to ponder. Christie. Now I know you've all been waiting for this video for a long time. If you know me, you know that I have a lot to say about Christie. So this is a good time to pause the video and go make your popcorn and order the pizza and set your DVR because we're going to be here for a while. I mean, no, not for an hour, but I could talk for an hour about it, but I won't. So I've been thinking about this video for a very long time. I thought about what exactly I wanted to say. Now, I did my best to ease and calm my emotions by taking time to think about exactly what I wanted to say, because I do have a lot of opinions about Christie. But what I want to focus on today, and if anyone wants to know my opinions on Christie, you can just ask me. But what I want to talk about today are not opinions, but some of the facts. Because everything that I'm saying today is mostly, for the most part, agreed upon by almost anyone who could go and look up this information. And so I'm doing my best. I'm doing my absolute best to give as much fact and as little opinion as possible. So today, I would like to talk about the pros and the cons of Christie. Speaking to many people who plan to vote for Christie, they've said they like him because, quote unquote, he tells it like it is and he gets stuff done. Now, I'll give it to the guy. He does tell it the way he thinks it is, and he does say what's on his mind. And that's wonderful. That's great. I like politicians who say what's on their mind, say what they really believe, and are not afraid to offend people. So I'll give the guy credit for that. That's the first part of the question. But the second part, well, the first part is telling it like it is. The second part, getting stuff done. Now, yes, and you can argue whether this is good or it's bad. They did do pension reform. They did do tenure for teachers reform. Now, I'm not going to argue here whether any of it was good or was bad, because I can be honest and admit that although I know a little bit about it, I don't actually remember it happening, and I have not extensively studied it, so I'd prefer not to comment on it. But whether you like it or you don't like it, assuming you understand it fully, it is considered getting stuff done, but depending upon whether you like the guy or you don't like the guy, you could argue it was getting stuff done, yeah, but bad stuff done. But so let's talk about some of the other things that Christie has gotten done. Now, I'm not going to mention that any of this, there's a huge argument over, is Christie a bully? Obviously, he says no. But what I do want to tell you is a story that Barbara Buono, his Democratic opponent, told, and that firsthand she saw a Republican state senator, one of her fellow state senators, come out of Christie's office, not crying, but almost crying, and the state senator said to her, he should not be treating me this way. He's bullying me, he's being nasty to me, he's treating me like a half person. And that's a bully, as far as I can tell. That's a bully. All right, so let's talk about some other facts. And I have it on my handy-dandy sheet that I wrote down all these facts. I've been spending a long time writing it down. Number one, Christie took the only African American off the New Jersey Supreme Court. He did not renominate the only sitting African American on the Supreme Court. So now our Supreme Court is only old white people. Is that good or is it bad? Personally, I don't think that it's so great, and that the state of New Jersey is clearly not only white people. We need some diversity, and there was no reason not to nominate another, even if Chris Christie was not happy with the African American that was on the court, he should have nominated another African American to fill that space. Chris Christie vetoed marriage equality. He indeed, no matter what you want to say, hold on, I'm running out of battery here. Gotta plug it in. Okay, now we're up. No matter what you want to say, Chris Christie vetoed the gay marriage bill that would have legalized gay marriage. He vetoed it. It was passed by the state Senate and the state legislature. Polls show the majority, overwhelming majority of New Jerseyans supported that. He vetoed that bill. Fact. Another one. Chris Christie vetoed the minimum wage increase. Again, the state Senate, state legislature passed a $1 increase of the minimum wage. He vetoed it. Fact. You can't deny that he vetoed it. He did. Chris Christie cut funding for Planned Parenthood and women's health care. Now, I understand that money doesn't grow on trees, and I understand that we don't just have money to spend on every single program. And although I'm not personally happy about the cut in his funding to Planned Parenthood and women's health, although I'm not a woman, I'm related to many women, and I hope to be married to a woman one day, and quite possibly I might have children that are women. So this issue matters to me. Now, although I'm not happy about it, I could accept that funding was cut because funding was cut from many places. But this is where it really nags my craw. When you cut funding for Planned Parenthood and women's health care, yet, and here's another one, you miraculously find $12 million to fund a special Senate election, which will be this October 16th, which is 2 weeks and 6 days before another election, November 5th, the election that Chris Christie will be in. He clearly wasted $12 million. So you cannot make the argument that there is no money for Planned Parenthood, which does pap smears, mammograms, and other important necessities for low-income and minority women. Say there's no money for that, yet at the same time, there's no money in this hand, but at the same time you pull money out of this pocket and say, we have $12 million for a special election less than 3 weeks before the election that you're in. Clear politics. And it's, quite frankly, it's hypocritical. Here's another one. Chris Christie spent $2 million putting himself in a state tourism ad after the Sandy ads, the Stronger Than the Storm ads. Now, I don't have a problem that he put himself in the ads. My problem is that another company submitted a bid to make the ads, and they charged $2 million less than the company that was eventually hired, and that ad did not include Chris Christie. So the fact that he spent more money to put himself in the ad is debatable, and so you could have a genuine argument over whether it was the right thing. Christie also took apart the earned income tax credit. Now that the tax credit has been lessened and lowered, middle and low income New Jerseyans will not benefit from it. Something to note. The property tax cap has allowed property taxes adjusted with a bunch of other tax credits. Property taxes have gone up 20%. And if you don't believe that property taxes have gone up Look at your property tax bills. Obviously, I don't own a home yet, obviously. And so I don't have property tax bills. But if I sat here with my parents' bills from 2007 and 2008 before Christie was in office, and this year and last year, you would see that they clearly went up. Christie cut a little less than $1 billion from our public schools. Now, he also sends his kids to private schools. Now, I don't have a problem with sending kids to private schools. But you cut funding for education and then you throw your own kids in a private school. Is that right? Is it? In addition, the governor has refused to visit the Trenton High School that we all hear about on the news that's literally falling apart. He won't even visit it. You have to visit it. You have to visit it. Especially since it's in the same town as where your governor's office is. It's not as though it's a 5-mile drive, Zamunda, to go. Zamunda, by the way, is from the movie Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. It's not a 17-year drive to get there. It's in the same darn town. You haven't got to visit it. The fact that he didn't visit it shows a lot of contempt for us public school graduates, public school students, and public school teachers. The governor also installed an incompetent administration at Rutgers. We all know about President Barkey, or Barchi, however you pronounce it. There's an Italian pronunciation, there's the way he pronounces it, there's a way you should pronounce it, so I apologize if I got it wrong. We all know about the Mike Rice incident, all of this stuff. Rutgers' reputation has gone down the toilet bowl, and it's gotten out of hand. Someone needs to take responsibility. Now, I understand that President Barchi delegated the authority to the athletic director. But you have to do a buck stops here. If a baseball team doesn't make the playoffs, the manager didn't play in the field. It's not technically his fault that they didn't make it. He wasn't batting or catching or pitching. But you're responsible. The buck stops here. So whether Barkey whether or not it was really his fault, the buck should stop at him. Christie vetoed gun legislation that he called for. He called for it. He asked for it. And then he vetoed it when it got to his desk at 6 p.m. on a Friday night. That's fact. It's fact. You can't deny that. Now, I'm not going to comment over whether I think his veto was about catering to the NRA and New Hampshire and Iowa primary voters that like their guns. I'll let you decide that. Christie gave over $2.1 billion worth of corporate tax breaks to big corporations. Where are the tax breaks for you and me? I don't know. I haven't found them. Something to note is that $2.1 billion worth of corporate tax breaks, more than the entire previous decade combined. So he gave out all that in, I think it was over 1 year. But maybe, don't quote me, maybe that was over the 4 years, the last 3 plus. But even so, from 1 year to 3 years, corporate tax breaks were more than the previous 10 years. And let's ask, where has that gotten us? New Jersey is the 7th highest unemployment state in America. 7th highest. 43 states have lower unemployment than us, higher employment than us. There are 400,000 New Jerseyans unemployed. Where have those corporate tax breaks gone? We have the 45th best business climate in the country. 45th best. 44 states have better business climates than us. That's not good. The governor canceled the ARC tunnel that would have created the Trans-Hudson Tunnel, easing congestion between New Jersey and New York City, and creating 40,000 permanent jobs and 6,000 construction jobs. I'm not really sure what to say to that. Now, I know a lot of you are going to watch this video and you're going to call me some liberal loon, a partisan hack. And yes, was there opinion put into this video? Yes, I could admit it. We're all opinionated. We all have biases. We're all opinionated. But, and it's not my intention to change people's votes. If you want to vote for Barbara Buono, go and vote for her. If you want to vote for Chris Christie, go and vote for him. What is my intention, though, is to get as many facts out there as possible and for people to realize these facts, because things are not as rosy and wonderful in New Jersey as people say that they are. 2.7 million, let me repeat that, 2.7 million out of 8+ million New Jerseyans are living under the poverty level. That's the highest number in 50 years. So whether you're a Democrat, an Independent, or a Republican, when Governor Christie goes out and says things in New Jersey are better than they've ever been before, I'm offended. That is a crock of baloney. 2.7 million out of 8+ million are living in poverty. This is New Jersey, one of the wealthiest states in the country, and 2.7 million of our friends, neighbors, brothers, and sisters are living in poverty. And that's unacceptable, no matter who the governor is. And if anyone says that I'm some wacko partisan, if Barbara Buono, it's a mouthful, Barbara Buono is elected governor either this November or in the future, I will gladly make another video giving the facts and attacking her if any of these statistics remain true. I am happy to call her out if these statistics remain true. So with that, I'm sure I'm going to get a million comments on this video, but that's what's on my mind right now. And stay pondering, America. Let's ponder the tough questions together, and let's take on the tough fights. Good luck.